हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू माय यूट्यूब चैनल। आई एम शारन एंड आज की वीडियो जो होने वाली है वो है आइल्स एग्जाम के ऊपर। नाउ मेनी पीपल कॉल इट एज आइल्स, कुछ लोग इसे IELTS भी बुलाते हैं। सो आज की जो वीडियो है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है बिकॉज इस वीडियो में आई एम गोइंग टू टॉक अबाउट हाउ अगर आपके पास 1 या 2 वीक्स बचे हैं, सपोज लिमिटेड टाइम में अपने बैंड स्कोर को अराउंड, अगर आपका बैंड स्कोर 5.5 है, 6.5 है, तो उसको 8 या 8.5 पे कैसे इजीली लेके जा सकते हैं जस्ट 2 वीक्स टाइम। Because I personally believe that IELTS is all about doing hard work, practicing, and the smart work. It is more about strategies than the hard work, really. So in this video, I'm going to share all the strategies that I used that got me a band 9 in reading section. So I gave my IELTS in September 2022, and I received a band score of 8. So I received band 9 in reading, which meant that I did all of my reading answers correctly. So this is how I did it, and I'm going to share everything that I know I followed that is going to get you the perfect 9 band score. Also in this video, I'm also going to share some sample question papers, some sample answers that we both are going to do together, and उसके अंदर मैं आपको strategies और tricks बताऊंगी कि you can easily do that is going to save you time and get you full marks, especially in your reading section. Now to know a little bit more about IELTS, and IELTS is an international exam which is taken if you want to study or work in a country where English is the language of communication, or in an English speaking country, for instance in the USA or in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK. If you want to study in these countries and you or even work in these countries, and you have to take IELTS. It is a mandatory exam for an international non-English speaking candidate. So IELTS is actually, as we are well aware, it has 2 parts. One is academic and one is general IELTS. If you want to study in any foreign country, then you have to take academic IELTS. If you want to do your if you want to work in a foreign country, then you have to take your general IELTS examination. Now reading section is almost similar in both of these examinations, and the strategy that you have to follow that always remains the same. The only difference between these two is that in academic IELTS the questions that are given are more analytical, and in your general IELTS exam the questions are more on like real life. Now IELTS is actually conducted to check whether you can read, speak and listen and write in English, while you're proficient in the language and you can survive if you're in a English speaking country. So that is why in IELTS exam we have 4 sections. Number 1 is reading, listening, writing and speaking. Now reading, listening and writing are done in one sitting, and speaking test is done later. So in the reading section we have 3 passages. Each passage contains nearly 13 to 14 questions. The total question in the reading section is 40. So reading section is of 40 marks, and we have 3 passages. So you have to somewhere give 20 marks to each passage. Now I personally believe that जब आप reading section solve करते हैं, then reading section kind of difficult होता जाता है as you keep on solving it. So first passage would be comparatively easier than the third passage you would get, and you get 60 minutes. So you have to give 20 minutes to each section, and you should always have at least 5 minutes remaining in each section. Like you should be able to do a passage in 15 minutes and have 5 minutes remaining to revise it or to do the questions you were not able to solve in the beginning. So if you have a week or 2 weeks time or more, then I would recommend you please solve as many practice tests as you can. Now while you apply for your IELTS, either you do it online or you go and register it offline, you will get this book. This is an IELTS Academic 16 with answers. So you get nearly 4 to 5 test papers, the real time test papers, so you can do them by 2 or 3 days time. The IELTS or IDP will send you this book to practice, and on the online also there are so many resources available where you can solve your reading. So comprehension to me comes natural. I am particularly good at comprehending and reading, so it was not a big problem for me. I read a lot of books, so it was easier for me to read the passage quickly. But if you face difficulties, then practicing is the one thing that will help you improve. So do at least 12 plus comprehensions if you face any difficulty, and if you feel like you're confident enough, it's never bad to solve. So do as many papers or test papers as you can. That's the first step that I'm going to give you guys. So there is usually a quarrel on the internet whether you should read the comprehension first or whether you should read the questions first. So here's the answer: you should read the questions first, and then you should go and read the comprehension. Like let's just say that you read the first 3 questions first, read the first and second paragraph, and you'll find your answer. Because if you read the comprehension first and you again have to read the question, then you again have to read the comprehension to find the answers, and it is like wasting at least 4 to 5 minutes in reading the comprehension. So first read the questions, read those particular passage, and then move ahead. Now this is an interesting thing. In IELTS आपका जो आंसर होता है वो उसी like alternative paragraph में ही मिल जाता है. So let's say you're solving the first 2, 3 and first, second and third question. So उनका आंसर first and second paragraph में ही होगा. It is not like कि फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन का जो आंसर है वो 8th पैराग्राफ में है, थर्ड का आंसर 4th में है, फर्स्ट का आंसर और लाइक सेकंड का आंसर 5th पैराग्राफ में है. नो, वो सीक्वेंस में होता है. फर्स्ट का आंसर फर्स्ट में ही होगा. सो दैट इज रियली हेल्पफुल. रीड द क्वेश्चंस, रीड द पैसेज एंड फाइनली गेट द आंसर. नाउ यहाँ पे आते हैं एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट टिप दैट कैन हेल्प यू. दैट इज, अगर आपको सेकंड क्वेश्चन का आंसर पता है एंड आपको फोर्थ क्वेश्चन का आंसर पता है, बट यू कैन नॉट फाइंड द आंसर टू द थर्ड क्वेश्चन, लेट्स से फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स. ओके, देन व्हाट यू हैव टू डू इज, जहाँ पे भी सेकंड क्वेश्चन का आंसर एंड हो रहा है पैसेज में, वहां से लेकर जहाँ पे फोर्थ क्वेश्चन का आंसर पैसेज के अंदर स्टार्ट होता है, उस पैसेज में जो 2-3 लाइन्स का जो गैप है उसके बीच में ही थर्ड क्वेश्चन का आंसर होगा. सो यू नाउ एटलीस्ट नो कि आंसर को ढूंढना कहाँ पे. यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू वेस्ट लॉट ऑफ टाइम ऑन रीडिंग द होल पैसेज अगेन, बिकॉज नाउ यू नो कि आंसर कहाँ पे मिलने वाला है. सो यू आर ओनली गोइंग टू रीड दोस 2 to 3 लाइन्स अगेन टू फाइंड योर आंसर. Now I'm going to tell you guys the type of question that comes in an IELTS exam. And questions, so again, जिस टाइप के questions आते हैं उनको कैसे handle करना होता है, it is one of the most important thing. क्योंकि कुछ questions IELTS में are very difficult, like that kind of questions. उनको solve करने के लिए there are certain strategies that I'm going to now share with you guys that you can use to solve these particular type of questions. So number one thing that they usually give us is fill in the blanks. I personally believe that fill in the blanks is the easiest to solve. You have to read the passage. Now I think it's all about marking the keywords. You read the question, you mark the keywords. Let's say the question says whether the archaeologist found dash artifact. Now you know the keywords are archaeologist and the artifact. Now you have to look which artifact they're talking about. Let's say they're given a time period at the end, 1988. So you have 3 keywords: archaeologist, artifact and 1988. Now look like which sentence has all 3 of these keywords. That particular sentence will have your answer. So I think they're particularly easy to solve. I personally believe the most difficult one would be the true, false and not given. And a little disclaimer, I'm going to make a complete separate video on how to solve true, false and not given questions with absolute answers. So it will have a separate video that is going to come out real quick, so you can check that out. How you actually solve your true, false and not given question is by identifying the keywords. Now what true actually means is that it is, again, true, the whole statement is there going to be in the passage. Let's say we say that Krish had 4 oranges. Now if your passage has that Krish had 4 oranges, then it's true. Now the one way of identifying it whether it's true or not is checking the keywords. Now the keywords were Krish, oranges and 4. If you find all 3 of these keywords in the passage, that means that your answer is true. Now let's check a statement for false. I'm giving a very basic example, please don't mind it. So if the passage says that, the question says that Krish has 4 oranges, but the passage says that Krish has 4 apples. Now this statement is false because the keywords here do not match. Instead of apples, instead of oranges, the passage has apples, which is false. Now how to check for not given? Because not given can be a little confusing. So for not given, what you actually have to do is, not given means that those particular keywords are not going to be in the passage, right? Let's say the question says that Krish has 4 apples, but the passage says that Krish was in an apple orchard. Now Krish is there, but there's no mention of apples or 4. And there's not even oranges present. So it is a statement of not given because you cannot find the keywords. It's all about underlining the keywords and finding them in the passage. If you find the keywords and your answer is correct, if you cannot find it, it is not given. And if the keywords do not match, it is false. If the keywords match, then it is true. So always check the keywords. It is the most important thing in the exam. Next video I'm going to solve examples along with you guys of the true, false and not given, so you can have a better idea. Now another type of question that usually comes is list the headings. Now list the headings can kind of get a little difficult sometimes because almost all the headings sometimes seem similar, and to make it a little difficult, what IELTS usually does is it will give you, let's say 5 passages, but it will give you 6 headings, or it will give you 6 passages and will give you 5 headings. So one of those passages will not have a heading dedicated to it. It makes it even more difficult to solve. Now how you usually solve these heading type of questions is, you first read the passage, you have a look at the headings and you read the passages one by one, and you try to match that whatever summary the headline has, that is, it correlate with the passage or not. Try to read at least 2 passages together and then try to find the solution in the heading part. You need to, again, it's all about the headlines and the headings, what they actually talk about. You need to find the keywords, you need to circle the keywords, you need to have the meaning of those keywords, you need to have the, the synonyms of those keywords and what it can actually mean, and then you can find your answer. Now, to solve this type of questions, I'm actually going to share a question, like a few questions, and the passage page on my screen. Now you can read the questions, you can read the passage, take a few minutes, pause the video. When you have the answers, solve it. Now from my book, I'll read the A part of the passage that says that the pyramids are the most famous monuments of the ancient Egypt and still hold enormous interest for people in the present day. These grand, impressive tributes to the memory of the Egyptian kings have become linked with the country, even though other cultures such as Chinese, Mayan also built pyramids. The evolution of the pyramid has been written and argued about for centuries. However, there is no question that as far as Egypt is concerned, it began with one monument to one king designed by one brilliant architect, the step pyramid of Djoser at Saqqara. Now we're going to quickly look for the keywords and then we're going to move on by reading the headings. So the heading says that the areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. Second is a difficult task for those involved. I think we can crisscross the second option because this does not talk about difficulty. And it also does not talk about the area and artifacts that were present in the pyramid. We can also cross the first option. A king who saved people, it does not talk about any king. It just simply says that a king who built it but not the king who saved it. So we can cross this. A single certainty among less definite facts. So I feel like this can be an option. We're going to circle this for some time and we'll move on to the other options and read it. An overview of the external building and areas. No, there was no overview, just talks about the memories of Egyptian kings and how the culture evolved and how there were pyramids built by Chinese or Mayan people and the evolution of pyramids which have been taken over centuries. So a pyramid design that others copied. No, there was no design talked about. An idea for changing the design of burial structure. There are no burial structures that we are talking about. There was no mention of burial structures. An incredible experience despite the few remains. No, because we again do not have yet talked about burial structures or burial ground. So it's no mention of the remains as well. The answer to some unexpected questions. Again, we have not yet been asked any unexpected questions. So the answer would simply be the fourth one, a single certainty among less definite facts. Now, if you're a little confused, then a little certainty among less definite fact means कि हम sure हैं, at least इस चीज़ के बारे में काफ़ी सारे सब facts हैं जिनके बारे में हम अभी तक नहीं जानते, but this is something we are sure about, and that what this passage talks about कि pyramid का evolution कैसे हुआ over centuries, pyramids grow हुए, different cultures ने उन्हें like different cultures also followed them, but we're certain about some of these facts of how it grew over the years and how it was built and things. Now I'm going to read the second passage. I hope you've already done this as well. If not, you can go back and try and do this one again. So please don't mind me, I might pronounce this word wrong. I'm really sorry. Djoser was the first king of the third dynasty of Egypt and the first to build in stone. Prior to Djoser's reign, tombs were rectangular monuments made of dried clay brick which covered the underground passages where the deceased person was buried. For reasons which remain unclear, Djoser's main official, whose name was Imhotep, conceived of building a taller, more impressive tomb for the king by stacking stone slabs on top of one another, progressively making them smaller to form the shape now known as the step pyramid. Djoser is thought to have reigned for 19 years, but some historians and scholars attribute to much longer time for his rule, owing to the number and size of the monuments he built. So now if you look at the first two lines, it talk about how the tombs were built, like it were rectangular monuments and were made from dried clay, and it also talks about deceased people and burial process, and then it also talks about that it is still unknown for how long the king lived and ruled. Now we're going to go and have a look at the the headings, the areas and artifacts within the pyramid itself. No, because if you look like further into the passage and you realize कि it is already, the passage will come ahead, it was already given कि कितना artifact था, क्या क्या area covered था, so our answer is not included in this heading. So it was always good to have an overview of the other passages as well while you're solving the heading, ताकि हम थोड़ा सा confused ना हो and distract भी ना हो while we are solving the headings. So next is a difficult task for those involved. No, it does not talk about that. A king who saved people, again no. We've already done the fourth. Fifth is an overview of an external building and areas. No. A pyramid design that others copied. No. An idea for changing the design of barrier structures. Now we have the common word barrier mentioned here, so we're going to save this one. An incredible experience despite the few remains. We were not given any sort of experience. The answer to some unexpected questions. We have questions right now but no answers to them, so it's your seventh. An idea for changing the design of barrier structures, because it does talk about the barrier structure which was created and how it was changed in the process. So seventh option is the answer for the paragraph B. I'll put the answer for the other questions here if you want to check them out, but I'm only going to do two because we are time constrained. Now next type of question that we usually face here is to choose the option like X or choose two answers from A to E. So you'll be given 5 options, you'll have to choose 2. In that you have to read they are usually passage driven, so you have to read the particular passage and you have to check whether those same lines are mentioned or not. You might not find like the exact same wording. You see, you need to learn more synonyms and how things can be framed. Like walk can be a synonym for walking on foot, so like walk can be equal to on foot. So these little type of things can change to make it a little difficult or to give it a little twist. So always be reading wisely, do not be distracted. All these lines that you're supposed to find will be there in the passage, but they can be molded in some way. And if you want, I can make more detailed video on this where you and I will together solve these sample papers together, and while we do that together we'll also look for some strategies and key points in between. But yes, these are the important points that right now I'm telling you कि आपको सबसे पहले रीड करना है उस लाइन को, 4-5 लाइन पढ़ो, उस पैसेज को पढ़ो, देखो कि वो की पॉइंट्स हैं भी या नहीं है. केवल कुछ पॉइंट्स इतने ऑब्वियस होते हैं कि डायरेक्टली क्रॉस देम ऑफ, वो मेंशन ही नहीं होता उनका, लाइक जैसे हमने इन क्वेश्चंस में किया. सो देयर इज ऑलवेज गोइंग टू बी वन की पॉइंट जिसके ऊपर वो पूरा पैराग्राफ या पूरा पैसेज पॉइंटेड होगा, उसको पकड़ो, उसको पढ़ो एंड देन उससे मैच करो. सो नेक्स्ट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन यू यूजुअली गेट इज द MCQs. नाउ MCQs आर लाइक द मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस. एक क्वेश्चन के लिए 4 पार्ट दिए होंगे एंड यू हैव टू चूज द करेक्ट वन. दीज आर यूजुअली इजी बिकॉज इन सबका पैटर्न डिफरेंट है, बट टॉपिक ये है. एज कॉम्प्रीहेंशन का मतलब यही होता है कि जो दिया हुआ है उसका मतलब आपको लिखना है. वन इंपॉर्टेंट टिप हियर इज कि प्लीज डू नॉट पुट योर ओन थिंकिंग इनटू द पैसेज. You should read it as a third party, not think of yourself as the writer. अगर आप खुद का imagination उसके अंदर डालोगे, you're going to ruin it somewhere, because now you're putting in your ideas, your feelings, your thoughts into it, which you do not have to do. Read it as a third person. You just have to figure out what the first person is saying. That's all. You don't have to go into how they were feeling while writing them or the inner emotions were. No, you just have to simply read it, read the facts mentioned, and tell whether it is present in the given lines or not, or fill in the blanks with them. So do not try to put yourself in between. Another type of question that usually comes is fill in the blanks, but they come with a twist. You will be provided with certain words that you have to fit in your question. You fill in the blanks. You'll be given a box containing, let's say, 5 words, and you have to put those 5 words into the fill in the blank passage. So in that, what you actually have to do, you need to have a very clear idea what the passage says, because now you're not taking words directly from the passage. You're going to read the passage, understand the meaning, and उस passage में जो key words हैं, जो words हैं, उनका meaning समझने के बाद आप ये question कर सकते हो, क्योंकि इसमें जो आपको words given होंगे, आपको उस passage के अंदर put in करने से to know कि किस sequence में चीज़ें हो रही हैं, जो words आपको given हैं, उन सबका meaning क्या है. So you need to work on your vocabulary. You need to work a lot on your reading, because आपको जो पढ़ रहे हो वो समझ में आना चाहिए, तभी आप उन words को उसमें put in कर पाओगे उस sequence में जिसमें events already अभी हो रहे हैं. So I would suggest read 2 lines, then read 4 lines of the passage, then read 2 lines of the question, read 4 lines of the passage. You will be able to do it much more easily. And here the most important thing is कि हम कई बार question properly read ही नहीं करते हैं. One place you are most likely to make a mistake is जहाँ पे लिखा होगा कि 1, 2 या 3 word में fill in the blank. If the question says fill in the blank with 2 words and you mention 3 words in your answer, you will not get any पॉइंट्स, इवन तो आपके उस 2 वर्ड्स में या उस 3 वर्ड्स में वो 2 वर्ड्स मेंशन है जो करेक्ट आंसर के हैं, बट यू स्टिल नॉट गेटिंग एनी आंसर। 1 वर्ड में 2 वर्ड लिख दिया रॉन्ग, 2 वर्ड्स में 1 वर्ड लिख दिया रॉन्ग। सो रीड केयरफुली, 1 वर्ड में सिर्फ 1 वर्ड ही लिखना है, 2 वर्ड्स में सिर्फ इंपॉर्टेंट 2 वर्ड्स ही लिखने हैं, सब्जेक्टिव एडजेक्टिव वर्ड्स नहीं लिखने। सो ऑलवेज यू नो मेक श्योर यू डू दैट। एंड अगर कई बार आप मेंशन करें किसी का नाम में कुछ ऐसे नाउन्स जिसके अंदर आपको फर्स्ट लेटर कैपिटल होता है, तो उस फर्स्ट लेटर को कैपिटल ही लिखना। डू नॉट ट्राई टू राइट इट कि यू आर राइटिंग अ नेम लेट्स से किंग एलेक्जेंडर, नाउ एलेक्जेंडर को प्लीज ट्राई टू राइट इट कैपिटल, उसको स्मॉल मत लिखना। ये ग्रामेटिकल मिस्टेक्स है, बेसिक मिस्टेक्स वहाँ पे नहीं करनी चाहिए हमें। एंड द लास्ट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चन दैट रियली इज बीइंग आस्क्ड वो है कि मैच द स्टेटमेंट विद द पर्सन हु सेड इट। अगर कोई कन्वर्सेशन टाइप है या फिर जिसमें बहुत सारे रिसर्चर्स बात कर रहे हैं, सो माइट बी आस्क कि ये स्टेटमेंट किसने लिखी है। सो डू वन थिंग कि उस रिसर्चर के नाम को पकड़ लो, एक रिसर्चर को पकड़ लो और उसके ने जितनी भी चीज़ें बोली हैं सबको एक साथ अंडरलाइन कर दो और फिर वापस अपने क्वेश्चन की तरफ जाओ, देखो कि उस रिसर्चर ने जो भी कहा है वो उस पैसेज में किससे मैच होता है। इट विल बी ईजियर टू डू। एंड इसीलिए कहते हैं कि फर्स्ट रीड द क्वेश्चन देन डू द पैसेज, ताकि पता हो कि हम पैसेज में बेसिकली ढूंढ क्या रहे हैं। वी हैव टू क्विकली स्किम थ्रू द पैसेज। हमें एक एक लाइन को पकड़ के बैठना नहीं है, समझने की कोशिश नहीं करनी। क्वेश्चन पढ़ो, देखो कि क्वेश्चन में क्या की पॉइंट्स है, हमें क्या ढूंढना है, देन उस पैसेज में सिर्फ उसी चीज़ पे फोकस करो जहाँ पे वो की पॉइंट्स आ रहे हैं, उसके ऊपर नीचे की 1-2 लाइन, बाकी पैसेज को जस्ट क्विकली पढ़ लो। So that was all for today's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful and informative. I'm going to create more detailed videos on each type of question that is being asked for you guys specifically. And yes, so the next video is going to come is about true, false, and not given question. How we are going to do them together with some examples, and then I'll be sharing more strategies and tips. If you want कि अगर कोई particular topic है या video like type of question है जिसके ऊपर you want me to make videos, please comment down below. I will be doing that too. So thank you so much for watching. And yes, I just to share that I got band 8 in speaking and band 8 in listening. So if you want me to make videos on that, I can do that as well, even though I went well prepared, but something went wrong कि वो 9 से 8 band हो गया. But still I can create videos on whatever you want me to right now, educational videos, anything. So that was all for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you find it useful, then give it a thumbs up, share this video, and subscribe to my channel, please, so you can get a notification whenever I post a new video on such topics. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.